7 of us sought a way forward amidst the ruins. Whenever we encountered a collapse, we would bypass it. After walking for a long time, we finally reached the center of the ancient city. The streets here were relatively wide. Although sand covered everything, the layout of the streets could still be discerned. However, around this area, apart from a leaning black tower, there were no other large structures. Not to mention a royal palace, there wasn't even an ordinary residential house, just weathered earthen walls. Professor Chen said that the royal palace here might have been built underground. There was too much sand and dust in the city. Let's go up the black tower and look from above to see if we can find the entrance to the underground palace, he suggested. The base of the tower and more than half of the arched stone door were buried in sand. This black tower was entirely built with stones taken from Zhang mountain. It had 6 floors, slightly tilted but still incredibly sturdy. Besides the extremely rare building materials, the top of the tower also had a black rhombus-shaped slab. Professor Chen put on his reading glasses, looked up and observed for a long time, then took out his binoculars to look, muttering to himself, "It's true, why didn't I think of it before?" I wanted to ask what he hadn't thought of, but the professor had already stooped down and squeezed into the tower door. He seemed eager to verify something, and we quickly followed him. The walls inside the tower were densely carved with strange ghost cave characters. Each floor had a black stone statue. The first floor had a statue of a stone goat, which was nothing special. The second floor had a stone human statue, about the size of a normal person, with deep set eyes and a high nose, half kneeling in the tower. The third floor, surprisingly, had the large-eyed stone statue that we saw in the nameless city when avoiding the sandstorm. Professor Chen stopped and said, "It seems my guess was not wrong. These large-eyed stone statues found everywhere originate from this Jingzhou kingdom. The materials used to make them are all black stones, taken from Zhang mountain." Bang asked, "Professor, what was this tower used for? Why is there a statue on each floor?" Professor Chen replied, "I guess this tower was used to display the status of the ghost cave people. The stone statues on each floor symbolize different ranks. The first floor is like livestock. If I'm not mistaken, there is another underground floor, inside which is placed a statue of a hungry ghost from hell. The second floor is a statue of ordinary people, including all the Hu people in the western regions. Their status is only higher than that of cattle and goats, equivalent to slaves. The third floor is a statue of a large-eyed person. Just now I saw a stone orb at the top of the tower, which is shaped like an eye. The large-eyed stone people and the eye-shaped totem represent this people's worship of the eyes. Let's quickly go up and see what is the next higher status in this Jingzhou kingdom." Fatty Tuyen replied, "Even with my meager intelligence, I've already figured it out. I bet the topmost floor definitely has a statue of that queen." Without finishing his sentence, he eagerly stepped up to the 4th floor. I followed closely behind, going up to check. Unexpectedly, it was not as predicted. The stone statue on this floor had a human head and a snake body, with 4 strong limbs. The hind limbs were shaped like animal legs, while the forelimbs resembled human arms, holding a sharp sword and a shield. It had a man's face, fierce and menacing, with eyes rolled back, much like the Vajra statues seen in temples in the Central Plains. Behind the statue's neck, there was also a black orb, similar to the fleshy hump of the snake on Zhang mountain. At this moment, Professor Chen and the others also stepped up one after another. Seeing the bizarre hybrid statue, they exclaimed in wonder, "This seems to be a guardian deity statue of the kingdom. It also has a black eye-shaped orb on its head. It seems the ghost cave people truly believe that the eyes are the origin of all power. The status of the guardian deity is still below the queen's. It seems the Jingzhou queen has indeed been deified. Come on, let's go up to the 5th floor and see if it's the queen statue." Just as we were about to go up, Diektam was awakened by the morning breeze on the tower. Shirley Yang gave her a few sips of water. Her body was still extremely weak, but compared to when she was unconscious, everyone felt much more relieved now. Diektam's dehydration symptoms were very clear, but for the time being, there was no need to worry about her life. Now that she had woken up, she just needed cold saline treatment for a day or two, and she would be fine. There was nothing more to worry about. We were all eager to know what other ancient oddities were on the tower, and at the same time, we wanted to find the entrance to the Grand Palace in the ancient city. So, we helped her climb up to the 5th floor of the tower. In the short time it took to go from the 4th to the 5th floor, I had considered all kinds of possibilities, but I never expected that the 5th floor would be empty, with nothing at all. There wasn't even a stone pedestal for a statue, though the carvings on the wall were denser. I asked Professor Chen, "Was this floor destroyed, Professor? Or was it stolen?" Professor Chen hesitated for a moment, then replied, "It's hard to say. Let's go up to the top floor first to find out what's really going on." The stone statues in the Black Tower stirred everyone's curiosity. Everyone eagerly ran up the stairs to the topmost floor. On this highest floor stood a black throne, and on it sat a statue of a woman, adorned beautifully. Her face was carved as if wearing a veil, so her features couldn't be seen. However, at a glance, it was clear that this statue was exactly like the Jingzhu Queen, depicted in the murals in the tomb of the Gumo Prince. This was a full-body stone statue of the Queen. Everyone murmured in discussion, all guessing what the Queen's face actually looked like. I couldn't figure out the reason, so I asked everyone, what was this Queen's intention? Why didn't she reveal her true face even when casting a statue? Fatty Tuyen replied, "In my opinion, it's just to appear mysterious. The #1 beauty of the Western regions, or whatever. She must have been an ugly old woman who didn't dare show her face to anyone. Otherwise, she wouldn't be hiding like this, afraid people would look, right? But she looks pretty good. Her face might be nothing special, but her body is shapely." I told him to watch his mouth. She died 2,000 years ago, and you're still scrutinizing whether she's shapely or not. Look at the things in this city, how much they match what's in the legends. What if this queen was really a demon? She might jump out and bite you. Let's stop speculating and listen to what the professor has to say. Professor Chen, from the moment he stepped onto the 6th floor of the tower, hadn't said a word from beginning to end, just silently piecing together the clues in his mind. By this time, he had put together a relatively complete picture. Hearing our questions, he explained, "I said before that this stone tower is very likely a type of spiritual symbol, with clear class characteristics from high to low, meaning from noble to humble. The people of Jingzhu Kingdom were mainly from the Ghost Cave ethnic group. This group has been extinct for a long time. Currently, no skeletons of theirs have been excavated, so there's no way to infer the origin and background of this ethnic group. Until today, our biggest discovery is the eye totem of this race. This is absolutely a crucial breakthrough in the study of ancient Western regions' civilization. With this evidence, many difficult problems that have puzzled scholars for many years will now be gradually resolved." Fatty Tuyen asked again, "So why is the 5th floor empty?" I suddenly remembered what Shirley Yang said in the tomb of the Gumo Prince and blurted out, "Virtual space." Professor Chen nodded and said, "That's right, above the guardian deity statue is an unimaginable virtual space, and the Queen presides over everything. She seems to completely control this unknowable space. The top of the tower also has an eye-shaped totem, which indicates that the Queen's power comes from her eyes." Hearing this, everyone couldn't help but shiver. Could there truly be a space in this world that transcends human understanding? And could that queen control that world through her eyes? Wasn't she a demon then? Fortunately, she's dead. Professor Chen saw that everyone looked worried, so he continued, "You don't need to be so tense. Rulers in ancient times often used these kinds of myths to deceive the common people, which allowed them to consolidate their ruling status. It's just like the emperors in the Central Plains. Each one claimed to be a true son of heaven, entrusted by God with responsibility. But in reality, it was nothing more than a trick to keep the people ignorant. It's not strange for this queen not to reveal her true face, pretending to be a god or ghost. But these ancient stories are of great value for studying ancient historical culture, and the significance of this stone tower is also immense. Seeing that there was nothing else in the Black Tower besides the stone statues, we looked down at the city. We could only see the entire capital of Jingzhou blending into the golden color of the desert sands. The shape of the entire ruin was also that of a large eye. After observing, Professor Chen asked me, "Uncle Yi, your insights into Feng Shui layout are very profound. How do you assess the Feng Shui of this city?" I thought to myself that the most important thing now was to find a water source in the royal palace. Why would this old man want to test me? Did he think the queen's tomb would definitely be under the royal palace? Thinking this, I carefully examined the surrounding geographical features. I pointed to the two Zaklama mountains to the north and said, "Professor, look. The Black Mountain Range looks like a black dragon in the desert. It's just a pity that it's cut in the middle, turning one dragon into two snakes." In my humble opinion, the canyon in the middle was excavated by people. The stones taken from the mountain were probably all used to carve statues and build towers. Ancient kings, as soon as they ascended the throne, immediately began preparing to build their mausoleums for when they reached 100 years old. If this ancient city truly has an underground water vein, it will certainly echo from afar with the Zaklama mountain range, forming a state of one stillness and one movement. Surely that Jingzhou queen must have been an extraordinarily talented and intelligent person, knowing that a black dragon was inauspicious. So she mobilized human power to cut that black dragon in half, pinning it there to forever guard her mausoleum. This city then became an extremely wonderful treasure resting place. If the queen's mausoleum is indeed within the city, its scale must not be small. Therefore, there's one point I don't understand. Professor said her royal palace is underground, and I also see the ancient tomb is underground. Wouldn't that be a bit cramped? Professor Chen praised, "Indeed, excellent insight. I think the royal palace and the ancient tomb are both underground within the city, but they are not clustered together. It's possible they are divided into 2 or 3 levels. This ground level is the fortress, the underground level is the royal palace, and further down is the mausoleum of the Jingzhou queen." The powerful Jingzhou kingdom commanded hundreds of thousands of slaves from surrounding countries. Even Zaklama mountain was split in 2. So, even if the underground royal palace and mausoleum project is enormous, it could still be accomplished. Legend has it that explorers reached this ancient city more than once, but the shifting yellow sands continuously erased all traces of them. Among them, some might have entered the underground palace, but there was no way to verify it, and of course no way to discern which entrance they used. Knowing clearly that the royal palace was beneath their feet, yet unable to find an entrance, truly made everyone restless. We meticulously examined every path, every ruined house, and finally discovered a stone structure in the city that was taller than the ordinary houses. It was also covered with a layer of yellow sand, making it difficult to spot if not looked at closely. This seemed to be the only clue. We hurried closer. This structure appeared to be a temple, also built from the black stones of Zaklama mountain. The stone door was built in the shape of a giant beast's open mouth. Yellow sand was piled high in front of the door. Fatty Tuyen and I dug away the sand to open a path. Everyone put on gas masks, then used flares to illuminate the path ahead. The stone temple was incredibly imposing, with a total of 16 large stone pillars. Because the entrance was blocked by sand, there was no sand inside. In the deepest part of the temple, on the ground, an eye-shaped jade was enshrined. The jade had natural red patterns, blue irises, and clear layers, looking exactly like a real eye. I clicked my tongue in admiration. Tisk, tisk, this item must be incredibly valuable. Just to see it, to touch it, makes this life and death trip into the desert worthwhile. It's truly a divine artifact. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, how could I have imagined such a treasure existed in this world? Fatty Tuyen couldn't resist either, and tried to pry the jade eye off to put it in his backpack. But no matter how many times he exerted force, the eye remained rooted to the ground, not budging at all. Professor Chen was afraid that Fatty Tuyen would be too forceful and damage the ancient divine artifact, so he quickly pulled him away, telling him not to mess with it. Shirley discovered a groove on the jade eye, with a strange shape that perfectly matched Fatty Tuyen's jade pendant. She told him, "Try placing your family heirloom jade pendant on it. This seems to be a keyhole." Fatty Tuyen was overjoyed. He immediately took out the jade pendant he was wearing, pushed the people next to him aside, and personally inserted the jade pendant into the groove on the jade eye. If they really match, then this jade eye is mine. Anyone who tries to steal it, I'll fight them to the death. Don't blame me for being impolite. Damn it, this is truly a treasure, Uncle Yi. Damn it, this time we've really hit the jackpot.